3D investigates a subject that'll make some of you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Pornography. High-speed internet porn and its impact on the minds of teenagers. Now, by rights, there should be a tidal wave of concern about this, but there isn't. Funnily enough, it's the porn users themselves who are sounding the alarm. Porn users and scientists who say it can actually change the shape of the brain.
In the privacy of teenagers' bedrooms. It's shared around the schoolyards. It's free. It's unlimited. And scientists say it's as compulsive as crack.
Eventually, at 16, I got to the point where I was at my most addicted.
The vast majority of teenage boys are into it, and a surprising number of girls, exposed far younger than you would imagine.
It's slapping and hair pulling and choking and verbal abuse and spitting and making people vomit. And if you were happy with your 10-year-old son watching that, or your 10-year-old daughter watching that, thinking that's what sex is.
This stuff's on family-friendly platforms like YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. And tonight, we present evidence that high-speed internet pornography is actually shrinking and rewiring the human brain.
The reward center says if you don't get that fix of cocaine, if you don't get that porn hit, you're going to die.
If this was about cocaine and children, then everyone would be shouting from the rooftops. But it's not. It's about porn, and porn is embarrassing. No one really wants to talk about it. We'd like to change that.
Here I am on national television, outing myself as a masturbator. Cause engaged, okay, hands up, punching long.
Richie Hardcore, that's not his porn name, but one he adopted in the kickboxing ring. He's outing himself as a man who's watched a lot of pornography, and he started young.
We're going to put that together. I was 10. I was hanging out with my 10-year-old best friend, and his big brother was like, do you want to watch a porn? And I distinctly remember going, what's porn?
Fast forward into the teen years, and looking at pornography became a daily habit for Richie. And what he saw on the screen was what he wanted in the bedroom.
You know, like what I wanted to do, what I found arousing, how partners would act when we were having sex was very pornified.
So you did what you saw?
Yeah, totally.
And you asked for what you saw?
Yeah, and without much consideration as to why at that point.
How did your partner react to that?
She was like, when we first started sleeping together, I really felt like you were on show, which was an interesting piece of feedback, you know? And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, it was really much like you thought people were watching and you're putting on this performance.
You know, and what I'm hearing you say to me is that you very much learned how to have sex through porn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it took me a long time to reframe that.
So it's taking a bit of guts to do this.
While Richie doesn't reckon he got addicted to internet porn, this 19-year-old does. Adam, not his real name, presents as a confident, good-looking and intelligent young man, but his last few years have been a wipeout.
I was just completely unmotivated for anything, depressed, barely could find a reason to get up in the morning.
No one, not his friends, his parents or teachers, knew why, and still don't.
I basically didn't care what I was doing in school at the time. I didn't care if I was failing or succeeding. The teachers were worried, but they eventually, I think, kind of just gave up.
Adam started watching internet porn when he was 12.
How often were you looking at porn?
At least 4 times a week, sometimes up to twice a day, or even more.
Was this on the family computer?
Yeah, it was the family computer, yeah.
Did your parents have any idea that
No.
you were doing this?
I'm pretty confident they were in the dark the whole time.
It wasn't till last year that Adam realised what was happening to him when he tried to stop.
Took me probably 6 months of continuous trying until I made it to about 2 weeks without it.
Wow. Do you think you were hooked?
Yeah, I knew it.
But how could he get help? Even if he could get up the guts to talk about it, porn addiction isn't an accepted medical condition. Adam had to turn back to the internet.
What's up, everybody? My name is Gabe Deem, and this is the Reboot Nation. It's a channel and free online community to help people recover from porn-related problems.
On Reboot Nation, Adam found thousands of young men in the same boat. The site's based in Dallas, Texas. We went there to find out what might be going on for Adam and all the others overtaken by the juggernaut of high-speed internet porn. Reboot Nation founder Gabe Deem.
There's tons of guys that grew up with internet porn that just watched porn because we liked it. We liked watching naked girls have sex. And then we develop problems after years of conditioning ourselves to that. So we don't have social problems. We don't have relationship problems to start with. Those develop after porn use. And it's happening to everyone that has unlimited access to porn.
Gabe started viewing cable porn regularly when he was 8. 4 years later, his parents got high-speed internet.
My friends were very tech savvy, and they would, give me pieces of paper with websites and where I could find it for free, and then also teach me how to delete my history. And so I was doing that as a 12-year-old. I'd come home from middle school and watch, hardcore porn for a couple hours before my parents came home. And that continued all through high school and into college.
Gabe says all his male friends were into it, and Adam says the same.
Everyone I knew was watching it, and it was...
Everyone?
It was more common than not, yeah.
You're always told, too much of that and you'll go blind.
Right.
But did you have any idea what sort of harm you were doing yourself?
I had no idea that it could have a negative physiological impact on me. No clue. At the time, it was all jokes, giggles, and pleasure. Never really thought how it was impacting me, never really cared how it was impacting me. I didn't realize it was a problem until I had porn-induced erectile dysfunction when I was 23, when I realized I could no longer be aroused with the real partner, and I became dependent on porn to feel anything.
Is this going to be safe?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you go first.
It's definitely safe. Built it sturdy.
Texan boy Gabe Deem describes a charmed childhood, good at basketball, popular at school.
Remember I dated her. How was work today?
It was good.
Yeah.
Not too busy.
But the first time he tried to get intimate with his present girlfriend, trouble struck.
Well, we had a nice night on the town out in Dallas, and we went back to the hotel, and I asked her to get in the shower with me, and I was ready to, go into sexual activity. And as we were getting ready to do it, I couldn't feel any arousal. And so we tried some things that typically have historically turned me on, some of my favorite things, and nothing that we tried did anything. And so I was freaked out because I was very attracted to her.
The same thing was happening to Adam in Wellington.
So at age 17, I had another girlfriend, and at that point, we went to have sex, and nothing happened. I didn't have a physical response at all.
So the real thing just didn't do it for you anymore?
No, didn't at all. If I'd seen her on a screen, I would probably have more of a physical reaction than seeing her in real life.
But Adam and Gabe had no problem getting an erection behind a computer. So what was wrong? Could all the porn they'd been watching have done something to their brains?
Now there's the nerve. You see it right there?
Don Hilton's been peering inside people's heads for 21 years, a brain surgeon in San Antonio, a world expert on this stuff.
I think there's ample evidence that pornography rewires the brain in a very dramatic fashion.
4 years ago, Don put forward the controversial theory that internet porn could be as addictive as cocaine.
We predicted that based on the way sex causes these reward chemicals in the brain to be produced, that we would see some of the same brain scan findings that we find with drugs.
And the latest research seems to be proving him right. At Cambridge University, they scanned the brains of 19 compulsive porn users and 19 healthy men while watching explicit internet pornography. Researchers wanted to know what would happen to their reward centres. That's the part of the brain which lights up when we do the things we enjoy, like eating or having sex. It's fueled by packets of dopamine.
And they turn it on. And they make that cell say, this is pleasure, this is rewarding, I want this, this feels good. It rewards our brain, it gives us a buzz.
While the control group got a little buzz from the porn, the reward centres of the porn users lit up like Christmas trees, just like the scans of cocaine addicts. They wanted more, and they wanted it now.
An individual that's addicted to porn, just as one that's addicted to cocaine, experiences a sensitization or an overshoot. And when